Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast. I'm Gimli and tonight I'm joined by... First up, he's our resident button monkey and producer. It's Danny the GFP. Hello, Danny.
And how are you, Mr Gimli?
Well, it's a bit shit this week, Danny, to be honest with you, because...
Tell us all about it.
I just moved house, right, as I'm sure that anyone that follows my tweets online is aware. And I'm sat in a room that pretty much has a bed on the floor, the walls half painted. It might sound a little bit echoey. I don't know if you guys are picking that up. And worst of all, I have no Wi-Fi, so we're doing this off of the wonders of Skype credit.
Oh, you sound like an upset junkie.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, you live in a bedsit, don't you? Just a mattress. Live in the life.
Oh, yeah, no, I can assure you there's no needles on the floor. Don't worry, I won't feel like a prick if I have to skip across the land into the bathroom.
I see what you did there. Very good.
I know. Oh, do you know what? It just gets better every week.
Oh, dear.
Next, a man who, since he last joined us, has been on the Gooner Girls podcast and the Yammercast, property of a Bergkamp Wonderland. It's Mr Geoff Arsenal. Hello, Geoff.
Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's well.
I'm sure they are. I'll speak for all of them. Well, they'll get their say in a bit anyway. And next up, his chocolatey tones are loved by many, and I'm pleased to say he's joining us again tonight. It's Mr FK, or as you know him, Mr Fuckhanage.
Evening, guys. Evening, everybody. How's everyone?
I'm good.
Fine.
Good, man. Good. I'm buzzing, raring to go.
Yes, and if
have you done your notes for this week?
I have indeed, Gim. I have indeed.
I've even got notes. Hey, there's three of us. Oh, it's organised.
Are they sweary notes, FK?
They're beautiful notes.
FK doesn't know any swear words.
No, they're beautiful notes. They're very well written.
And I bet he did it in a fountain pen in ye oldie styly English.
Yeah, they are indeed. Fountain pen. Cracking stuff.
Done it with a quill.
I could just see him touching the end of the quill on his tongue, just going, no, I'll just write that Danny is a... right, and finally, standing in for John Cross tonight, who couldn't be with us because he's just stepped off a plane from Turkey, and he will be with us later on in the season, so don't despair. But it's another John, this time it's our grumpy Venezuelan. It's John, or as you know him, Benguna, or as you might otherwise know him, Guna in BCN.
With all my aliases.
Yeah, you just got too many. This would be a half an hour podcast just on the intro, just for your Twitter account.
I'm really Dick Law in disguise.
And how are you this week, John? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Just taking in all the negativity from Saturday, and then seeing a lot of people erase tweets and then turn all positive from last night. So it's good stuff.
That's good to hear. Right, first up, I'd like to start proceedings by talking about Saturday's game against Aston Villa. For his take on it, I'll go straight over to Geoff.
Well, it's not really a lot you can say about the game. It was a disaster, the result itself. But I'm not one of those guys that are knee-jerked so much as to say it was a terrible performance. I don't think we was that bad. I watched it again. I watched the whole 90 minutes again. Just because I thought I better examine it and go through the agony of going through every single minute of it again. And on watching it again, we wasn't really that bad. I just think it was terrible refereeing decisions that totally changed the game. And that made the difference. We had got a great early goal. Everything was fine. The fans was buzzing. Then all of a sudden, the referee was making these terrible decisions. Everything seemed to be going against us, and it just got worse and worse and worse as the game went on. The Ox injury, the two penalties was diabolical. I mean, the first penalty, it's all right. It was a blatant penalty, fair enough, and maybe Szczesny could have got sent off, but in my honest opinion of watching football for 42 years, once you let the play go on and the striker, as a striker, the clean strike at the goal, he puts it wide. That's the advantage taken. He shouldn't pull it back and then give us a penalty. I think we was penalised for that, and I think we was really, really shocked by it, to be honest with you. And then the second penalty, that definitely wasn't a penalty. It wasn't a yellow card. Then Koss, he gets booked again for something that I don't even think was a booking. He jumped out of the way. And it just went from bad to worse all the way through. At the end of the day, we got beat 3-1. it goes on the scoreboard. It was a defeat on the first game of the season, which we was all worried about, given the circumstances that we haven't really made any decent signings as yet. But it just got worse, and the outrage on Twitter afterwards was just incredible, absolutely incredible. Over to you guys.
Is there anything that you think you can add to that, John?
Well, for me, Anthony Taylor made and broke that game. We were in complete control. I think Aston Villa did what they ought to do, given their talent level, which was try to get stuck in on our players. But I think the game got away from the referee too easily, and then decisions started going against us. I agree with Geoff on both penalties and the sending off. I think this was as much to do with the circumstances surrounding the key calls more than the overall play, and I'll leave it at that.
SK?
Well, pretty much what the other guys have said. I mean, on paper, it was an ideal fixture to start with. I mean, Villa finished 15th last season, and opening day of the season, you'd kind of think, yep, we can take them. And looking at the team sheet, hand on heart, I thought we'd have enough quality to beat them. And 10 times out of 10, you'd back Arsenal to win at home, right? But that said, looking back at the game, Geoff says it. I mean, it was a disastrous opening day. I was gutted. I was coming home thinking we could have really, just shut a few people up, had a nice 3 points, gone into the European qualifier with a bit of confidence. But it was, a bad defeat, various injuries. I know the Ox is out for a while and the red card. But like the gentlemen have already said, I mean, once we conceded the second penalty and once we were down to 10, it was always going to be, trying to climb an upward hill. I was a little bit surprised at the lack of positional discipline. Well, not surprised in the sense that we've not been very good at it for a while, but we were just so easy to carve open from the first run from Agbon Lahore to the third goal that we conceded. There's just, without Arteta, you could see there was a big gap. And I think the players that come in, they need to wise up. They need to be more tactically aware, I think, when you're being countered like that. But yeah, I mean, gutted. What can I say, guys? It was just a devastating start to the day. But luckily, devastating start to the season. But luckily, first game, and fortunately, with hindsight now, knowing last night's result, it didn't carry forward.
I'm sorry, but the person you've called is not available. Please leave your message after.
Who's this?
She sounds better than Gimli, I've got to tell you. Leave that in. Leave that. Bring her on there.
Because we'll leave this little bit in just to show that we're not completely infallible. But because we have to ring Gimli on his mobile. Here we go.
Hello.
Oh, we would much prefer talking to that lady. She had much more important things to say about leaving a message.
Hello, is that the Chinese restaurant? Can I get a number 52, please? And the number 24?
And no onion.
Egg fried rice or the sucky $2?
Oh, don't say that, because now we'll get fucking complaints.
Oh, well, what can you do?
But no onions in mine, please. No garlic, no onion.
Would you like red peppers instead of green?
We're still recording this, so shut up. FK, you just finished off that last part of your point again?
No, I just summarised by saying I was absolutely gutted to sort of come away from the Emirates on Saturday with a defeat, and I'm glad that it didn't carry forward into yesterday's performance, which I'm sure we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I want to make a point about Saturday's game. That moron of a referee, Anthony Taylor, his last 5 games, he's given out 36 yellow cards and 2 reds. That's over 7 cards a game. And that was one UEFA Cup qualifying, UEFA Cup 1, a Champions League qualifier, and 2 under-19 championship ones. And that's just absolutely ridiculous. I thought the first penalty was, you could probably give the first penalty. And like Geoff said, you can't really complain. We were lucky that Szczesny didn't get sent off. Mm-hmm. And the second penalty, I think we were very unlucky for. But we could all shout and scream that, like, on the bench, after we made the 3 subs, all we had left was Sanogo, Frimpong and Gnabry, which just shows how weak the team is. And just this... Luckily, after the game, the 3-0, it showed that we're not completely up shit street. But I'm just so annoyed that, yet again, we're 2-1 down at home, playing 4-5-1. It was sticking to that. I know Masicki was pushing forward quite a lot, and Theo was doing quite well, and everyone's attacking. But why the hell didn't he go 4-4? I know he doesn't like it, but sometimes when you watch the game, Theo gets so close up front to Giroud, it looks like we are playing a 4-4-2 when attacking, or even at times 4-3-3. So why the hell didn't he just bring on Podolski I know he come on in the 94th minute, or Sanogo for a bit of pace. It just shows his utter stubbornness that not only is he refusing to buy players when we need them, he's refusing to change his system when we're at home. I mean, when we're at home, we shouldn't be playing 4-5-1 at home. Even if they do play Ox and Theo wide as a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, I think it was all about shape, though, Danny. You've got to try and keep your shape. And then especially when we went 2-1 down and then we got a man sent off immediately, it was like you definitely have try and got to keep your shape. You're chasing the game at the same time, and ultimately we got caught pushing on too much, and they broke away. I mean, the defending for the third goal was absolute. It was proper schoolboy stuff,
Yeah, but Koscielny got sent off. Got his first booking in 61 to give away the penalty, and so we're 2-1 down, and then it's another 6 or 7 minutes or 10 minutes until Koscielny gets sent off. Yeah. So straight away, when you go 2-1 down, what would George Graham have done? He'd have chucked everyone on and gone, we're playing 0-0-11 until we score, or something like that. We'd have gone Savutio on their arse. But to go 6 or 7 minutes without playing, we're still sticking to the rigid 4-5-1. It's rubbish. You shouldn't play that at home.
I don't know how you guys felt, but every time a player went down in that game, which was, it seemed to me, or whether it was just because it was the first proper game of the season, but every time a player went down, I was just so nervous, just like sat there going, oh my God, I hope he gets back up, I hope he gets back up. And, I don't think we should be, in that position at this point in the season. I think we should have had a couple of people come in. And, maybe the result was unlucky, but do you honestly think the result would have been the same had a few new guys been in the team?
No, it wouldn't have been the same. Another thing to pick up on is the possession. We had 64% possession. We had 15 shots on goal and 15 shots and 4 on target. And that's just and like the fouls, 19 fouls. I just want to pick out a couple of positives from the game, so I don't want it to be all doom and gloom. Firstly, Jack Wilshere was kicked for 90 minutes and went the entire game and didn't get injured. Fantastic. Ramsey was showing, because I know at the moment Ramsey is kind of deputising for Arteta, but at times it looked like Ramsey was the one getting forward and Wilshere was the one doing the slightly more defensive. So I thought that was a good thing. I like to see Wilshere do more defensive, because he doesn't score goals and he doesn't create them in that many goals. And I thought Rosicky in the last 20 minutes was fantastic. Almost reminded me of when Bergkamp used to play behind a striker. I thought Rosicky was really up for it. So there's a few things that I take from the game as positives.
Well, with that said, then we'll move on to last night's game, which was the Fenerbahçe game, and I think a lot of us came back into it on damage limitation, thinking, well, if we can go there and maybe scrape a draw, then we can take them back to the Emirates and see if we can't do something. John, what did you think of last night's game?
Well, I thought, obviously, given the result on Saturday, that they were, a little bit apprehensive in the first half. I think they were, Fenerbahçe obviously was looking for a low-scoring game, if not a draw themselves, playing very defensively, trying to counterattack. But I thought we looked apprehensive. We had chances. We were dominant in the sense of possession, but we didn't do much with it. But then we were able to break through in the second half, and it was all smiles, after that. I think that it was a great response to everybody saying that there was no quality in the team. And, it's, something, to build from, for this next weekend and to finish it off next Tuesday.
I mean, a lot of people said that we go into that game and lose. Turkey is renowned as a very, very difficult place to go. I take it you'd be happy with last night, Geoff.
I think it was an absolutely fantastic performance overall, to be perfectly honest with you. It's a very, very difficult place to go. Man United and Chelsea have been there before and been beaten. Super hostile crowd that they was making a noise all the way through the game. And the only time it was really, really quiet, when we scored that first goal, you could hear a pin drop. I think that I just think the way we set up, the way we was passing the ball about, it was a really mature performance and a way European performance. Given the fact that we'd been beaten by Villa, we're all concerned, and the players are concerned as well, that we haven't really got the reinforcements in to start the season how we'd like to start it. But you know what? Once we got playing, there was only one team really going to win that game, and it was for how many goals we've scored. But the one main thing I want to pick out is the performance of Aaron Ramsey last night. He was different class, and hopefully he can maintain that throughout this season. It looks like he's really up for it. He's got great confidence, and he looks really, really fit. He's running. He didn't stop running for the whole time he was on the pitch. It was incredible.
Just like a new signing, then.
Just like a new signing, buddy. Yeah.
We'll go over to FK next, and what I want to ask you, FK, was it a case that we were particularly good, or was it a case that Fenerbahçe were particularly bad?
Oh, I don't think Fenerbahçe offered much, if I'm being honest. After Saturday's result, I was anxious and I kind of feared the worst, if I'm being completely open. I said to people before the game that I'd have been pleased with a score draw, but hey, as the guys have said, what a result. A very, very encouraging performance. We played really well, but Fenerbahçe, I don't think they had a shot on target the whole game. For a home team in Europe, that's pretty poor. I would echo Geoff's sentiments. Ramsey, I thought, was really outstanding. He's really come on. You can see he's bulked up. He's been in the gym over the summer. He's playing with confidence, and I think he'd outrun every player on the pitch by 2 kilometres, even by just half time. So it shows you just how much he gets around the pitch. But really important caveat to note, guys. I mean, as good as the result was, it can't paper over the cracks, and I'm sure Arsenal's not sitting there thinking, yes, we have quality and we're going to be fine. The squad is thin and it's thinning. We keep losing players, and I was really pleased to see Kajani in the photos on Instagram. I think Giroud put up a photo saying that he was smiling and stuff on the plane. So, I mean, that when the first reports come through about a cracked skull or something, whatever it was, I really feared for the worst. But the other beauty of it as well, Gim, is that 3-0, it now means that we can go into Fulham with a lot of confidence. We can rest maybe 2 or 3 of our key players next Tuesday and be best prepared for when the enemy turn up on Sunday, which is going to be a massive game.
Yeah, definitely. I want to speak to Danny next. Do you think that is us qualified for the Champions League now, Danny?
Yeah, definitely. I had us down for a 2-1 loss, which is kind of... kicking a team while they're down. So that means on our predictions league, I've messed them both up royally.
You're bottom.
I know, it's absolutely ridiculous. But I've got a bit of a conspiracy theory here of why we beat them. If you have a look at the team, did you notice that they had actual doppelgangers playing for them? Moreles wasn't Moreles, it was Zangief out the Street Fighter film. Did anyone notice that? Dirk Kuyt, it wasn't Dirk Kuyt. That was the bloke, the Rocky bloke from the Cher film. I mean, Ray Parlour's uglier brother. Do you see that face on him? Wow. And then the other one, which I don't think anyone noticed, Bruno Alves. He's that bloke from the Machete films. There you go. That's why we beat them. They had a load of doppelgangers in there, messing it up. It's quality. Also, we scored in the 77th minute. You know, at the weekend, they were playing in the Turkish Super League. They were 2-0 up at half-time, and then Konsaspor beat them 3-2. Konsaspor scored 2 goals in the 77th minute. And we scored 1 in the 77th. That's 3 in the 77th minute. That's 6 lots of 7s. That's got in numerology, that's got to mean something interesting. Yeah, but we're definitely through. I don't think there's going to be any problem getting through. I mean, we'll definitely have a few of the other players. We won't have to worry about a home leg 3-0 up. So I think we may see Fabianski in goal, see a few of the others get their go. It's nice to see Nacho come on for the last 3 or 4 minutes and get a bit of a run. Yet again, Carl Jenkinson showed that he has crossing that I think better than almost anybody at that club. Every cross was up, down and in around the centre spot. As soon as he come on, he was doing that. So I can see him maybe playing a more forward role for us. But Sagna was brilliant. I mean, Sagna to come out and do what he did and cover up, go straight into middle central defence was fantastic. And another thing, I don't know if anyone noticed, the 22nd minute we were attacking, we got Rosicky down in the centre of the pitch, outside of his right foot, from the middle centre circle out to the far right wing, and Walcott barely missed running onto it. That was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, it was a near miss. Yep.
Yeah, that was absolutely brilliant. If he'd have got onto that, that would have been another fantastic cross.
I think he should have done as well. Didn't he stop halfway through? It was like he should have got onto the end of that. I thought at the time, looking at it
I
live.
don't think he even thought it was going to get to him with that precision.
Because it did look like he'd give up. He didn't think, like John said, it looked like he thought the ball's coming over. But that was a beautiful quality pass. And it's little things like that from the games that warms the cockles of my cold dead heart.
I've been impressed with Rosicky. I must be honest with you. I think he's he could be his year. He really does shine. I mean, we've had glimpses of it in the past, haven't we, over the last 2 seasons, coming to the end of the season. But he's a class player. There's no doubt about it. If we can keep him fit and active and playing, hopefully he'll crack on this year and he'll do good things for Arsenal.
It's just a shame that he's 33 in the beginning of October.
Yeah, age is only a number, Daniel. You know
but
that.
He doesn't have a lot of mileage though.
Yeah, no, I was making this point to my friend I was watching a game with. I went, all quality players, be it Hullet, Lothar Matthäus, those sort of players, the older they get, the more central they get and the further back they get. I mean, I think Hullet ended up playing a sweeper. I mean, one season for AC Milan, he was getting 20 goals a season, I think. And Rosicky is doing that. He hasn't got the pace to be out on the wing like he was back in his Dortmund days, but he has got the vision and the ability. And it was just fantastic watching someone who was out for, his career was nearly over. We'd all written him off after 18 months out, and then to come back and to be doing this, it's just fantastic. It's a lovely thing to see.
Do you know what I love about
it? We all know. Sorry. I was going to say we all know Rosicky's got it in the locker as well. I can liken it very much to when we had Benayoun on loan a couple of years back, and he came in, and you know what? He did such a fantastic job in that 5-2 result as well that we had against the scum up the road. He was just absolutely fantastic. I do think that age is but a number, and I think he can do, a very good job for us this season. If he stays fit, he will be a regular first teamer, I think.
And Yossi is on a free if we want him back.
I think you're right.
I think there'll be a few.
I was just saying that the thing I love about Rosicky is just that he's just like a little ball of energy, and he's like a little pinball, sort of just all over the place. And he always quickens up the tempo of our game. And when he's got the ball, he's always going forward. He's looking forward. He's looking for that forward pass. I think, he's a brilliant player. I just so wish, it's one of my biggest regrets as an Arsenal fan, that it's such a shame that he's been so injury prone, because when he was at Dortmund and when he used to do it for the Czech Republic, just scoring goals and running around and bossing games, he's kind of failed to hit the heights because of that problem. But I really hope he does well this year.
One other thing about Fenerbahçe, I'm just looking at their results. They haven't won a single game away of their last 9 games. So there you go. That's a little bit. So we can play the under 18s.
So hopefully we'll take them back to the Emirates Stadium and thrash them by another 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or as many as I can count to, probably about 10 before I stop. Our next feature, and a popular segment of the show, and it couldn't be more relevant to the current time in the transfer market. Reports are saying that we've made inquiries on Benzema and Di María. So, over to John for what's a moving and a shaking in España.
Okay, well, earlier this week we had the famous travels of Dick Law, but this time to Valencia, to go inquire about Gaida, the goalkeeper. But there's been reports that we made bids, but Cadena Sur, which is the one that broke the story that the Dick was here and talking to the head of transfers for Valencia, they said that there was no bid. That basically Valencia want the 30 million release clause that he has in his contract, or very close to it. And obviously, I think, Dick had some paella and went back home. That's too much money for a goalkeeper that's currently number 2. He's good. There's no doubt about it, but he's not 30 million euros good. When we have Begovic at Stoke, that's reportedly being valued at around 12 to 13 million pounds. So Benzema, as you alluded to, Benzema, Özil, and Di María have all been in the news, linked with us. As from what my understanding is, Benzema is out of favor because of attitude, not because of his play. He threw a fit when he was removed from the game the other day, but everybody has to understand this is Zidane's and Florentino Perez's pet project. They're not going to give up on him because he's throwing a fit by being removed from a game. Di Maria is an interesting case because when the Bale transfer is done, there's few places for Di Maria to play, and with his injury problems that he's had, he hasn't really fulfilled the promise coming from Benfica. He's a tremendous player, but he should be available. So I think that rumor has more legs than anything else. But then we'll also face stiff competition from PSG on that front. And Özil it's reported that he's on the outs with everybody in Madrid because his agent, did what agents do, which is try to pretend that there's interest from another party. When we heard earlier in the summer that United were in for him, and to try to raise his price on his renewal. And somehow or another they found out about it. And so, there's talk that a reasonable offer coming in would see him off as well. And they would keep Modric. When coming into this summer, Modric and Di Maria were the likeliest of people to leave. So,
we were, when Di Maria first moved to Real Madrid, am I right in saying he was heavily touted by us in the first place? Yeah,
in 2009. It was a situation where we were very interested in, but I think that transfer ended up being 35 million euros. So it ended up not materializing. We all know why. Down to the money.
So how much do you think, if Di Maria was a goer, how much do you think we could pick him up for?
Well, from the reports here and from talk radio and local news, they're saying 25 million to 27 million euros will probably see him off.
Wow, that's actually a very good price. And I'll touch on something you said earlier, which was when the Bale transfer goes through. Now, normally on this show, we don't really talk about other teams or other clubs where Arsenal aren't involved. However, it's a scum player. He is, without reasonable doubt, their best player. So we will touch on it because it's always nice to see one of their best players leave. So, John, could you fill us in a little bit more about that one?
Well, the negotiations are ongoing, but I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that, for me, that's always been a transfer that was going to occur. It was just always a matter of how much and if any player was going to be involved. Tottenham won coin trial in the deal. Real Madrid just want to pay a flat fee of 93 million euros for him. And that should be finished here in the next couple of days. Everybody says this morning or tomorrow. And I just say in the near future, it should be finished or before the end of the transfer window. And I think you can see that with what Tottenham are trying to spend.
Yeah. So do you think that they are spending the money that they'll get for Bale before they've actually got it in buying the players that they are?
Absolutely. I don't think
that's fantastic. That's all we needed to hear, because I don't think that I could actually physically sit here and stand to hear that they've already bought those players, a few of which we had solid interest in, and some of which we probably should have bought, without them having another 90 million to that, and then being able to go out and buy a whole new load of players. So it's nice to know that the money that they've got, they've already invested in the squad that they have already.
Can we have a what's a moving and a shaking in Rusky?
No, we don't do the Russian thing. We don't like.
Yeah, but I've got a little bit of information which I think is interesting.
Oh, what's a moving and a shaking and a Rusky?
Hey,
Danny?
comrade. As we all know, Anzhi Makhachkala, they've decided to get rid of once Gus Hiddink went, they've got rid of all their players. They've sold 6 players to Moscow clubs. And did you know that Lasana Diarra? I always get the Diarras mixed up. Yeah, it is. It's Lasana Diarra. Do you know they've sold him He's only 28. We're looking for a defensive midfielder. They've sold him to Lokomotiv Moscow for 10 million quid, 9 or 10 million quid. And they've also got rid of, you may have heard of Igor Denisov, another defensive midfielder. They've sold him to Dynamo Moscow for 12 million quid. So there's two late 20-year-old defensive midfielders. They're having a fire sale. Anzhi are having a fire sale, getting rid of everybody. The Yids are about to pick up bloody Willian, and the Samuel Eto'o looks like he's going to be on his way out. Samba, they've only just bought him, and looks like he might be leaving because they bought another player. They paid 13 million for this other player in the summer. Played 3 games. They've got rid of him already, so they're getting rid of all their players. And I just think it's a shame that we've missed out on Diarra and Denisov. I think either of those would have been a long-term, half-decent solution.
Mm.
I can see
I do agree with you there.
No one else does, though. I'll shut up.
Jeff,
no one cares.
What do you make of it, Jeff? Do you think any of those players ring your bell?
Benzema, I think, you know what? I think he's very much like what we've got. Obviously, he's an upgrade on Giroud. Don't get me wrong, but he's another man that plays with the ball in front of him, so to speak. He's not one of them players that runs in behind like Henry, or he hasn't got much pace about him. He's a little bit quicker, as far as what I can see and seen over the years than Giroud. He's an upgrade, but I'm not really sure he's exactly what we want. He's nothing like Suarez. Suarez was he's a hustle bustle. He can generate something out of nothing, But Benzema's got a great touch. He's got a great first touch. He's very, very skillful. If he gets in the box, he's very, very accurate. And he will score goals. I think he'll if he played for Arsenal, we'll get 30 goals for us. I really do. I'm more interested in Di Maria. We're crying out for a proper winger, someone that will, gets the ball and just attacks a fullback or a defence from whatever part of the field he's playing in, because that creates panic. And with other players that you can bring into the game as well, as long as we can get a final ball done correctly, then we should do well. But I don't know whether they're going to come or not. There's lots of rumours, isn't there? So we'll have to just wait and see, won't we?
See, Jeff, no, don't stop it like that. You are our man in the know, right? You come on here, you tickle everybody's bellies. They all go home with erections saying, "Oh, I think we're going to do this, or we're going to do that." Please give somebody some news. You must have something.
I'm afraid my people have been away in Turkey for the last 3 days, so I can't really give you anything. I haven't spoken to them. That's the gospel truth.
Oh, you've let the side down, man.
So tonight I foul you.
Oh, do you know what? It's not very often it happens, and we'll forgive you just this once. I want to go to FK next. We touched on Benzema and his move to Arsenal, and I remember watching him in the Euros a couple of years back, and he was absolutely shocking for France. Do you really think that he could add anything to this Arsenal side?
I think it'd be unfair to say that Benzema wouldn't add anything to Arsenal. That said, if the fees that are being banded about 35, 40 million pounds or euros or whatever, I think you could get a better player in Wayne Rooney. And if you spent a little bit more, get Luis Suarez. Completely agree with Geoff. I mean, there's no doubt he's a good footballer, but if it was a choice between someone like Benzema or Wayne Rooney, Rooney's got the Premier League pedigree, he's got a point to prove, and he'd just be a much better player in my opinion. But if he was the only option, Benzema, I wouldn't say no, and he'd definitely improve our team. There's no doubt about that.
But do you not think, I can't imagine a player like Benzema going for anything under £30 million.
Yeah.
I mean, is that the right amount of money, John? Is he worth that?
Well, he came for 35 million euros.
36
million euros when he came from Lyon was his price. Is he worth that? I think he is. I think he's worth 35 million pounds now. I think he's progressed as a player. I think he's gotten better. He's gotten in better shape. He's a creator. He'll score. He can support. He can play a lot of roles on the team, as he has done. My question is, do we need another immature player in a squad that's begging for a little bit of nastiness and a little bit of maturity? If you're going to spend that kind of money, you would want somebody that's proven, 100% at a top level. I agree with FK 100% on that front. That why are you going to spend that amount of money on Benzema when you can get Rooney for a little bit more? And if you're going to get Rooney, why not go that extra mile and get Suarez?
John, Danny. John, can I just ask? Obviously, you made an observation about Higuain's scoring record in Spain a few weeks back, and you were saying that he didn't really score in the bigger games. What's Benzema like? Is he a big game player?
Benzema scores in big games. He scored against the Barcelonas, and he saved Madrid when they won the Copa del Rey a couple of years back. He saved a couple of their matches by scoring when they needed him to. But he also supports, which is one thing that, for me, Higuain didn't do all the time. He'll work and he'll get back on defense. He'll, obviously when he has his frame of mind correct, he'll work on defense. He'll play that 10 role and switch off. He's not an egoist in front of goal. He'll make the pass.
My only thing is, John, he hasn't got that pace, and I think we need someone for a central area playing up top that's got plenty of pace. That if a ball gets knocked in behind, he can run for it. You know what I mean? We haven't really got that, have we?
Exactly. He's not a change-up to Giroud. He's more skillful than Giroud, but he's the same type of player.
Yeah, I agree.
Did I hear that when he was playing for France last week, that the French were tweeting, if Benzema can score, then I can score, or something like that? They were taking a piss out of him. I know our good friend Thomas Le French Gooner, I think it is, he was, and a few others were tweeting that. Did anyone else see it?
No.
Saying that, I think they were saying even he can't score, taking a piss out of him for not being able to score for France. I'm just looking at his international record. I mean, I like the fact that he's both-footed, and so far this season he's got a 100% goal-scoring record with Real Madrid, which is a fantastic thing, isn't it?
I don't know why we should stop the piss balling about and go to Liverpool and say, listen, how much is Luis Suarez? How much is he? He obviously doesn't want to play for you anymore. How much does it cost? And if they say £60 million, let's pay the £60 million and get on with it. What difference does it make?
Well, I think there's a lot to do with resale.
Chelsea tonight apparently are going in for Villian, or they're trying to hijack Spurs' move for him. And if they're looking for Eto'o, and Mourinho's finally admitted that he's got more than one target than Rooney, why can't we just knock on the door of United and say, look, you guys know that you guys think that we're not your competitors. Here's 35, 40 million pounds, and just pay whatever you need to get Wayne Rooney.
I'm not a lover of Rooney.
Do you know? I've got to disagree with you with respect, guys, because Rooney for me is just what we need. He's just a brilliant footballer. He's a grafter. He's got a point to prove. He's a wounded animal. He's going to peak. He's got 5 good years ahead of him. And, the whole British core thing. And I know Arsenal's been a massive fan of Rooney for so long. I just think he'd be absolutely brilliant for Arsenal. I can't say enough. I would love him at Arsenal football.
But it'd be out of his comfort zone. He's never lived this far south before, and it could. And the amount of times that big-time players have gone to clubs that are miles away from their comfort zone and then just completely fallen apart. And he looks like a player on the edge at the best of times.
Well, maybe, Danny, but to be fair, you need a player who's a bit on the edge at Arsenal, I think. And also, every time he's come down London to play us, he's done pretty damn all right.
Well, I've blocked all those horrible images out. Just going back to Benzema, I mean, his record for Real Madrid, 184 games, 88 goals, 49 assists, and he's both-footed. So, like John was saying, he can play either side. I think that would be someone I'd love to see at the club. Plus, he's French, so we've got a few French people at the club that he's gonna like.
You have to remember, a lot of those appearances were substitutes as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing with Ronaldo, good luck.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to score, 30 goals. You're going to score 17, 20 if you're lucky, because he's going to carry the load for that team.
I mean, the thing about Rooney is, if you want to talk conspiracy theories, I've seen a lot of people say that Man United know that he wants to go. And if you'd seen at the weekend, when they scored their goal, he didn't even celebrate with them. Now, going back to what people were saying, a lot of the people are saying that Man United would rather sell him to Arsenal, because they probably consider less of a threat than selling him to Chelsea. Do you think any of that makes any difference, Geoff?
Not really, to be honest with you. I don't think they want to send him inside England, but I don't think he's going to go anywhere else apart from an English club. Honestly, I don't. Like I've said before on previous podcasts, I don't think he's a chap that's going to be going abroad. I'm not. I said it before. I'm not really a lover of Wayne Rooney. He's a fantastic player, but he hasn't really improved to the heights that we thought he was going to improve. You know, he's been a bit laboured of late. That's what the problem is. And of course he improves us, but for £35 million, I think he's too expensive. I really do.
And plus, you've got that other problem because every time he goes through customs, they always think it's just a picture of a potato on his passport. So that always causes a few issues. But he's only had one really good run, or two really good seasons with the Dirty Manx, where he scored 34 and then 34 twice. It's like every other season he has a good season, and that's it. He's averaging a goal every other game almost, but I just don't like.
Which isn't bad when you're second fiddle.
Yeah, the level he's playing at,
and he's a big game player. You remember all the Manchester derbies, the Champions League games. Yeah. The games against us. I mean, how many times have we been on the end of a Wayne Rooney breakaway or a goal? Yeah. I just think he's a great player, and personality-wise, you could settle him. Arsene could bring out the best out of him. You know what Wenger's like; he can do that. I just think it's just a no-brainer if he's not going to sell him to Chelsea. Go in there, just put your money down and just say, look, we'll have him. Thank you very much. Next player, please.
Swansea have just got 4-0 up.
Nice.
The Swans.
Come on.
Who did Spurs play in the Champions League Europa qualifier?
They won 5-0. They played some unknown team. I think Wilfred Boney just scored. Well, it's a calamity of a goal anyway. Yeah, the Dirty Yids, they won 5-0. They played Dynamo Tbilisi, who are, I suppose, no pushovers. They are a team we've all heard of.
So, Danny, I know you've actually want to tell people about the recent scores of Arsenal in reserves and ladies and whatnot. Do you want to tell everybody now?
Yeah, we were always interested because I know a lot of podcasts, if you say to them, hey, let's have a flower arranging section, they tell you to go fuck yourself. But someone mentioned, I'd like to hear about the results. So, here we go. The ladies, they won 6-0 in the Women's Super League away at Doncaster Bells, who used to be the dominant force in women's football along with Arsenal. But I think Doncaster Bells are going to be relegated from the Women's Super League no matter what position they finish in, because they want to get Man City into the Super League, and they're saying that the Bells' stadium isn't of high enough quality to be there. So one of the founder members, I think, and one of the best teams in the history of women's English football are being kicked out of the league no matter what position they finish in. So I think at the moment they're bottom of the league, Doncaster Bells. But yeah, we won 6-0 away at them, which is a very good result. And we're now only 2 points behind the leaders, Liverpool, but we've got a goal difference of 4 goals better. And their next game is away at Chelsea next Thursday, the 29th of August at 7:30 p.m. if anybody wants to go and support our ladies, who are undoubtedly the greatest women's football team that's ever seen the light of day. The under-20. Anyone want to say anything about that before I gibber on?
No.
Okay, lovely. Then the under-21s, because we all know they had to say it was a disastrous pre-season. I mean, they lost 5-1 to Colchester, 7-0 to Luton, and it was unbelievable, just an absolute terrible run. I mean, but there isn't a reason for that because all the best young players went on the pre-season tour with the first team, so that's quite understandable. But their first league game of the season, they drew 2-2 away at Stoke, with Thomas Icefield scoring both the goals. So that's looking good, because last season our under-21s didn't do too bad, but they weren't brilliant. Their next game is the 30th of August away at Blackburn at 7 o'clock. They were meant to be playing. I heard this on when they were doing the commentary for the Fenerbahçe game, that they've had to cancel the next under-21s game because we need the players because we're so short-staffed. Did anyone else hear that?
Really?
No.
Yeah. So they said they cancelled it. So that was meant to be, I think, that 24 hours after the Fenerbahçe game. So they've or 24 hours before the Fenerbahçe games. Yeah. So the next under-21's been cancelled. So their next one is the 30th of August. And then the under-18s, their first game of the season, they went up to Liverpool and won 2-1. Which was good. They got Tom Dallison, who I think is looking like a half-decent player. Yeah. He scored. And Ainsley Maitland-Niles, he scored. And their next game is at home this coming Saturday, 11 o'clock, v Fulham. So if anybody wants to go along, that's where they'll be. So, yeah, it's looking like a not too bad start to the season, considering they've got no players.
So, Danny, you missed out one crucial thing there. How is our favourite player getting on?
Who would that be?
Zalalalem.
No.
Zalalalem.
No. I played that today, and my mate's here, and he's a dirty yid, and he just sat there for the next hour. He kept saying to himself, no. Oh, for God's sake! He kept doing this over and over, and it was annoying him because his brain wouldn't let it go. Wouldn't let it go.
I heard it on Radio 2 the other day, and the shocking thing about that is that I was actually listening to Radio 2. But
nothing wrong with Radio 2.
He must have got his GCSE results today, wouldn't he? Zalalalem.
I'm
not joking, seriously.
No.
I'm not joking, they were seriously, they were released today.
So
if he's done it, he's probably got them.
Yeah, hopefully he has, and good luck to the boy.
Good luck.
And he has been asked to come on the show, but he hasn't responded thus far. But
he's clocked a death.
We can but try.
Bless him.
In my next segment, I want to talk about Arsene Wenger, and I know this is going to be controversial. I've been very vocal on my Twitter page about him and the way he runs the club, and I just wanted to gauge your reactions on him. Danny, you are the voice of reason, so let's have it.
I think this is like someone else has said my phrase, oh shit or get off the potty. We had a fantastic opportunity with a gel team to go out there, buy the players, and not get. First stupid thing we did was saying, hey everybody, we've got loads and loads of money. So that was the first stupid thing. Not backing up the team is a stupid thing. Letting go all the players that they've let go if they're not going to spend is another stupid thing. It's just absolutely ridiculous, and he's just. I mean, we were talking to Lord Hill Wood about this, and he was explaining some details to us I don't know if we're probably best not to say, but about the finances, but that it's him being stubborn, that the money is there, that he's been told to spend the money, and he's going, I'm not spending the money. I think it was Ivan Gazidis has come out publicly and said the money is there. If Maradona and Pele come out of retirement, we can buy them. We can pay them £1 billion each a week. We've got more money than the rest of the footballing world put all up together, and it's getting beyond a joke. And I know that we are going to come to the transfer window, which is in what's it today? So that's 11 days, and we are going to buy players we don't need. We're going to pay over the odds for certain players. I think luckily we may have fluked this Real Madrid thing with Benzema and Di Maria being allowed to go, because if we can sign both of those two, this will all be forgotten. If we'll look back at this summer of 2013, and people will go, oh yeah, that's the summer that we bought Benzema, Özil and Di Maria for $500 billion or whatever the hell they're going for. So if he flukes it and manages to get those, because at the beginning of the summer, was there rumours of them, any of those three leaving beginning of the summer, John?
No.
So if
Di Maria, yeah, but Özil, Benzema, no, not a chance.
But wouldn't that just be jammy of Wenger to manage to pull off signing 1, 2 or 3 of those, and then everyone will forget about the complete and utter fuck up that has been our transfer summer?
No, I agree. And I know many people are going to be expecting a rant from me tonight, and I don't know if they'll get it. It depends how heated the conversation gets. My stance on it is I absolutely love Arsene Wenger. Back a year when we started these podcasts, I was probably one of his biggest fans. Say 6 months later, I was on the fence, and now my opinion on him is, if he doesn't spend, go. Arsenal Football Club is Arsenal Football Club. It will be there tomorrow. We are not Arsenal FC. We are Arsenal FC. It's simple. Win, lose or draw, the fans will still be there tomorrow. That's not a problem. But we must move forward. Football has changed in the way that you have to spend to be competitive. There's no way that he could be sat there, for instance, last night when we beat Fenerbahçe, going, do you know what? I was right not to spend, because we have a fantastic team. We have a good team. We're probably 3 players away from having a title challenging team. We can't let teams keep spending and buying these players from under our noses and falling further and further behind. I've said before, we don't want to be like Liverpool, but that's the way we're going if we don't spend. We're going to miss out on Champions League. And I can't remember who said it, but they said the only time that Kroenke is ever going to be concerned about these transfers or the club in general is when we're actually in a relegation battle. It can't get that far, and I hope it doesn't. And regardless of Arsenal with or without Arsene Wenger, I just want to see them successful. So for me, If he doesn't spend, he should go. And that's my rant, and I'm just going to shut up for the rest of the podcast now, so whichever one of you wants to take it from here, then that's fine.
Wow. Go ahead, Geoff.
I mean, I think we're all hysterical because the mob up the road have spent a lot of money on four players at the moment. They may have added another one today. We don't know in Willian. But you know what? To be honest with you, I look at it. Those are untested. They're untried players, and I think they're ordinary players. Arsenal could have signed any of those, 4 of those players. Those players would have definitely come to Arsenal rather than Tottenham Hotspur. I think we're trying to aim higher than that. Unfortunately, Wenger's got caught in a little bit of a trap where he's changed from Higuain to Luis Suarez, and maybe he was given a little bit of bad information with regard to the agents and his contracts that affected that. We thought we'd nabbed him, but it appears that we might not have done at the moment. I don't think that's finished yet, to be honest with you. I know Wenger said the other day that I don't think he's got any chance of getting him, but I don't think that's done yet. Maybe if we go in with a great big bid, and this stuff again now with Benzema and that might be a little bit of a smokescreen. So ultimately, he's trying for top quality, which he's called out all the time. The players that the Tottenham and others have signed, I don't think they'd really improve us a great deal. We're going for something bigger than that, and I think ultimately we might have to spend a few quid and we might get burnt a little bit, but I think he'll find 2 or 3 players that will give us enough this season and improve us enough to make a decent fist of the Premier League and the Champions League. It's not all over yet. We've got 12 or 14 days to go yet, so I'm a believer he's going to get them. Apart from that, I can't really fathom out why people would want Arsene Wenger out right now. No matter what happens, there's not a manager out there at the moment who could come in and help us get through this next 12 months, because that's what we need to do. Get through this next 12 months, and because we've now got the money. This is the first season we've had the money for 5 or 6 years or whatever, and I do think he's deserved a chance. He's deserved a pop at it to have a go himself. And what I'd always say, a lot of managers under the amount of pressure, constant pressure he's had over the last, especially this last 7 days since the Villa defeat. Anyway, the constant pressure. A lot of managers would have gone out there and said, "Yeah, bang, bang, bang," signed 3 or 4 mediocre players just to shut everybody up. Right? He's not done that. He's sticking to his guns. I know you think he's stubborn and everything else, but he's sticking to his guns, and we just got to believe in him and wait and see what happens. And that's all we can do.
But I mean, thing is though, Geoff, and I know you are staunch Arsene Wenger. When does enough become enough? I mean, he's not bought anyone thus far. As everybody said, he is stubborn. The money is there. If he doesn't buy anyone for the remainder of the window, I can already hear it. In January, he's going to be going, "Oh, well, it is the January transfer window. It is notoriously hard to buy players in this window, so I think we will see what we've gotten up for Champions League." When does that become enough? If he doesn't buy anybody in January, say if we finish out of the top 4, should he go then?
No, I'll tell you what it is. He's got to stay for this season anyway. There's no doubt about that. I think sacking him now would be a disaster, right? So we'll have to suck it and see what he does, and hopefully we'll come through it. We won't be that bad, I promise you. We'll still be in 4th. Tottenham are not going to overdo us. Don't worry about that. I've said it. I've gone on record as saying, in my opinion, he's got the money now. He's had it. He's known he's had it for this last few months, right? He couldn't get the top players that he wanted, like your Cavani's, and Falcao had moved elsewhere. We've got to wait, see what he does in this window, and if he doesn't sufficiently spend enough money to make us compete, and he hasn't got enough a proper excuse to reasons why, then I'm afraid he's got to be held responsible. He's the manager of the club. He's the manager, and he comes in and he's responsible for bringing the playing staff to the club. And if he's not done it with the money that he's had available, then he has got to be held responsible. And I was glad that the AST come out the other day and they said that we should wait until the end of the season before negotiating with Arsene Wenger about his new contract. Let's wait. Let's not give him a new contract now because, listen, I'm out there with the rest of the men. Although I'm a loyalist on Wenger, I'm not stupid. I'm Arsenal, not Arsene. And at the end of the day, Arsenal Football Club is all I care about.
I mean, SK, over to you. And what I want to ask you is, basically, if he doesn't sign again, is that it for you, or how far do we have to go?
The way I see it is quite simple. I mean, despite the disastrous opening day of the season, I still think he's the right man for the job. And the reasons are as follows. I mean, it's the first time we've kept our squad together, i.e. no high-profile departures. And you know, no matter how much people say, well, he's had money to spend in the past and he could have bought replacements, selling the players that we've sold in the past have been massive steps back for the club. And that's been, a lot of it's been out of his control, and he just had to deal with it. And he's kind of stuck with it, and he's got us out of those holes every time. There's the first time this summer that it's been made absolutely clear, without any doubt whatsoever, that he has significant funds to spend. The Q&A session when Ivan Gazidis said, look, we've got loads of money, and he quite, openly and almost made it official that, look, we as a board say there's a lot of money there, it's completely 100% up to Arsene. So basically, what I'm saying is that there are no constraints, and therefore there can be no excuses. But it's not about who he buys or who he doesn't buy or how much he spends and who he brings in. I mean, 2 transfers we've had. Well, we're on the verge possibly of the second transfer and Flamini on a free. It's not about amounts. It's about where we end up at the end of the season. And I genuinely, sincerely mean that, because he deserves that chance to be assessed on performance because of the way that he's managed the club so prudently. And you know what? All this criticism is actually quite amusing. I mean, as a club, we pride ourselves on doing things the right way, right? I mean, we're not funded by the oil monies. We don't rely on unsustainable debt levels. We built our own stadium off our own back. And I know people keep going on about stadiums, but bottom line is there are other clubs like Liverpool and Everton and Chelsea and Spurs that keep talking the talk about stadiums and have been doing so for years and years. We've gone out and done it during a global recession. We play attractive football, which has caught the attention of people all around the world. We run our business properly. I mean, we're the envy of the footballing world. Honestly, we are. And at a time when more and more foreigners are coming in and the national team are doing badly, we've got the British core. And there's a lot of class about us as well, Gim. We didn't make any of these bids recently public. It was Pardew that came out. It was Liverpool that came out. Arsene, for me, is running the club in the right way. And despite all of that, we're hated, he's hated. And I just find that completely bizarre. And to basically summarise, Gim, I love the man. I mean, as a football fan and an Arsenal fan of 32 years, he's basically given me, the most enjoyable era of my supporting life. The best football, the best players, some of the stuff that I've seen, I've been blessed to see him through. And he's almost, he's done so much for us. He's almost a victim of his own success. And, he doesn't do things to help himself. There are conferences when I sit there and it's cringy, some of the stuff that he says about, he needs to look for super quality or there's no one out there that's better than what he's got. And he doesn't help himself sometimes, but he's not perfect. Nobody is. But, seeing him struggle like this is really sad. And what really gets on my nerves is when, the criticism is fair. Be critical about Arsene, but there's no need to abuse him. We've got some of our own fans that are turning on him week by week. You see it on Twitter. You see all the you see such abuse and such nasty language that
disgusting.
It is. It's
is it from me?
And you know,
yeah, maybe.
Look, my point is though, Geoff, like it's embarrassing. It's pathetic. It makes us all look so ungrateful, so spoiled, so stupid. It does the club's brand and image and fans no good whatsoever. And I appreciate, as a fan base, you're perfectly entitled to express your own opinion. You can boo after the final whistle, you can write to the club, you can tweet the club, do all that kind of stuff. But this man does not deserve that. We've got to have the decency to recognise what he's done. And because of everything that I've just said, above, and everything that Geoff has kind of said, and I'm sure, again, deep down, you opened by saying that a year ago you loved the man. I desperately want him to succeed. I really want him to lead us to glory again, and I totally want him to have the last laugh. And do you know what? I've got a funny feeling he's gonna. People are going to call me deluded. People are going to be laughing as they hear this podcast right now. Yeah. I genuinely believe in it. He's a smart guy. He knows what it takes. But I just believe he's had these constraints. But now's the time to go, and he knows it. He knows he's got to go out there. He's got to add to the squad. He said it time and time again. Last night he said, just 12 hours ago, guys. 24 hours ago, sorry. He said, it starts now. what do we know? Bale's going, Ryan's going. We're going to make a couple of signings. I'm sure of it. And bottom line is, there are no constraints, and therefore there can be no excuse. And if this time next year, then if let's say May, we fail to have competed in any other trophies, we finished fourth. And Geoff, I know you said, well, don't worry, we'll finish fourth. In my head, that's not good enough. The resources that we have, the players that we have, the fan base that we have, we're Arsenal Football Club. We should be aiming to compete for the title. And if we don't get anywhere near a trophy next year, he can have absolutely no excuse. And unfortunately, it will be time to then move on. So that's where I stand. Gim, sorry to take up so much time, but I'm
That's all right.
Sorry, Gim. You say that about the fourth place, but you know what? Look at the teams that are above us. United are United. You know what they've got. Yeah. Manchester City and Chelsea. We've seen their performance over the last few days, and the squad they've got is incredible, unbelievable. They're all on massive money. They've paid massive money for the players, right? They've already gone and done that, and we couldn't really do anything about that at the time. So you've got them three great big clubs that are above us. You do get a team from time to time that pops up, and they'll overtake. Like I said before, you did the Bremer and all that in Germany. You do get a team from time to time. It hasn't really happened in England, right? But it's very, very, even with all the money that we've got, if we spend 100 million, they'll spend 200 million pounds. So it's still going to be very, very difficult to compete to win the Premier League. We might nick a cup every now and again, and we might have a chance once we get our squad of 24 players, and everyone else has got the same squad of 24, 25 players, and hopefully the FFP comes in and makes a little bit of a difference, then I think we can compete. If it doesn't, we're buggered, mate. We're still going to be in the same position until we match them.
I totally hear what you're saying. I just think coming sort of 18 points, 20 points year on year behind the leaders, there's something wrong there. And I know that United can spend all this money in Chelsea and City, but at the end of the day, they can only have 25 players in their squad. There are lots of players out there. And how many times, Geoff, when we look back and we've thought, you know what, that year we were just 2 or 3 short. This year we were just 1 or 2 short. And we know this year we've got such a good core of players. I mean, you look at the boys yesterday, there's so much promise there. It almost seems we say that year on year on year, but for the first time, without any equivocation, the club have so much money that he's got to go and spend. And let me put out that caveat. Just because he goes out and gets 60 million on Suarez, 35 million on Rooney, 35 million on Seth. Sorry, John, I had to put that in there. But let's say he goes and buys all those players. There's still no guarantee of success, but we've just got to be seen to try and to compete. And next year, if we don't win the league, but we come 3, 4, 5 points off the top, that's an improvement.
If we bought them 3 players, I think we'd be confirmed as favourites for the title.
Oh, well, there you go. That way. I mean, that's what, £100 million. It's in the bank. Let's go.
Yeah, agree.
One person we haven't heard from on this topic is actually John. So, John, what's your take on this?
Well, I'm kind of on the fence with him. I'm not going to judge until the window's closed. I don't think, sacking him either way this year, like Geoff said, is going to be the answer. I agree with what the AST said the other day to wait and negotiate at the end of the year, but I think one of the things that need to be taken off the table is him being part of the transfer policy. I think that needs to be separate from his coaching duties. One thing that I didn't hear anybody mention was the fact that, I love Arsene. I love what he's done with the club since he's gotten here. The last few years have been a little bit disappointing, but his tactics are completely stale. We're found out and outmaneuvered very easily in matches. And he doesn't do anything to change, and his substitutes at times are horrendous and put us in worse positions than what a substitute is supposed to do, which is, change the game. For me, I think the transfer, being involved, obviously the talent, he can spot talent. So you're never going to take that away from him. But him being involved in what we pay a person weekly wage, what the transfer fee is going to be, I think that needs to be taken off the plate, and we need to have an executive that does that solely. I think the tactics need to be improved. I think we've been long overdue for a change in the way we play. You don't sack him, but if things don't change, if he doesn't spend and things don't change this year, I think he's got to go.
Well, is there anything else that anybody wants to add to this before we go straight over to the next bit?
Well, I just wanted to ask him. I mean, a lot of people have been calling for Arsenal's head over the summer. Everyone's aware of that. But who do Arsenal fans realistically think they'd get in? I mean, I know everyone's dreaming about the Hiddinks and the Heinkes and the Klopps. But you look at Manchester United, who are the biggest club in the world. They went down the road and appointed someone who's never won anything in the game. You look at City, who brought in Pellegrino. We were linked with Owen Coyle just like 2 years ago, whenever that was. Who do Arsenal fans think that we'd actually get? And Paul Merson last night said that if I don't know if you guys called it right at the end, but he said if Arsenal was to become available tonight, every club in the world would want him tomorrow morning, and that says all you need to know.
Yeah, very true.
I just want to say one thing, that I've tried something out new when we're doing the pod. I've been live tweeting little things that you lot have been saying. So to show people that we're listening, that at Arsenal Burns says, "Stop it, you're going to ruin the tension when I listen later." And another one having a cheeky dig at Geoff, who is at Ed and AD, says, "Agree with Geoff. Must be incredibly stressful having 100 million to spend on players and being paid 7.5 million for the privilege." So there you go, you cheeky monkeys. I slipped you both in.
He could get 10. He can get £10 million at PSG or Real Madrid or Barcelona or one of those clubs. So I mean, that's got plus he earns the money himself anyway.
And I'm pretty sure the 19 other managers in the Premier League aren't doing it on a voluntary basis. So
no, certainly not.
Well, there you go. And some people saying just a little thing we might do again next podcast. A couple of tweets and see what people say.
Before we go, I just want to remind everybody about our new blog page on the website. I spoke to you about it last week, but it's being run by Phil Gooner25. That's on Twitter. His name is at Phil Gooner25. We're still looking to recruit aspiring bloggers. We have a few on board already, and we hope to have our first post up by Sunday. So if you want to get involved, just message Phil and become part of the Bergkamp Wonderland family. Next, I want your predictions for Fulham away. So if I could have the first goal scorer and the result, please, starting with John.
I'm going to go 2-0 to us with Giroud as a goal scorer. The first goal scorer.
Okay. Geoff?
3-1, comprehensive 3-1 win, and Giroud the first goal scorer.
Okay, FK?
Oh, I'm buzzing for this one. Going with the Red Action boys on Saturday on their boat. 2-1 Arsenal, Walcott, first goal scorer.
And finally, Danny.
Just looking at the stats of Fulham's last 6 home games, lost 5, drew 1. Wow, that's a little bit. I will say 3-1 Arsenal and Cazorla to score first goal.
Oh, you picked up from me against Fenerbahçe, didn't you? I put Cazorla in there.
Well, he does play for us, and we're not many of our players do. So what do you want to do? Szczesny to bloody score? Suddenly I said Sir Szczesny. Szczesny
all
score
right,
first
you've
goal.
made your point.
Oi, you cheeky monkey, get back in your little box.
My prediction for that one is a 2-0 win, and I'm going to go for Theo as the first scorer. So, with that said, we'll get the rest of our panellists to also give their predictions and first scorers, and we're doing a league as well. So if you want to see who is the cream of a Bergkamp Wonderland crop, then go to the website and look us up on the predictions page to see who's top in the charts. Next up, we'll do some shout-outs, and we'll go over to you, as always, Danny, first.
Yes, well, there was one we were both going to do, but I'll save that one for you. I want to give a big thanks to Charles, who is at CEGUICE. Darren, who created the website and is an absolutely lovely bloke. Anybody who wants a website creating, go and have a look at Darren Berry on our website and he'll sort you out. But Charles was noticed that our menu was a bit wonky because when the latest WordPress update made our menu go from red and white to black and grey. So he went into our account, gave it a tickle, gave it a brush, made it look really good. So thank you very much, Charles, for that. A fellow Gooner in America. And then I did a shout out to see whoever wanted a gentleman's nod from me. And the first one was Tom Hart, who is at TomHart82. Hello, Tom. And the other one, I know I'm going to fuck your name up, which is why you probably said it. His at is the same as his name. It's Shashwatpant, which is SHASHWATPANT. So next time when I say, does anybody want a gentleman's nod from me? Anybody with a name that's unpronounceable, don't bother. And that's
fantastic. SK?
He's gone.
Oh, FK's gone. You wait there and
He's dropped.
I'll slip him back in as if no one noticed. There you go.
There he goes. There he comes.
You go next then, Geoff.
Okay, I've only got...
FK's back. Are you there, FK?
My apologies. Sorry.
Okay, hold on. Do you want me to do that again so it seems seamless?
No, get on with it. You're running out of credit. We've got about 8 minutes of credit on your shitty mobile.
All right, go, Geoff.
I've only got one shout out tonight, and that's for a great chap, and it's at Jeremy Libor. He knows why.
We all know Jeremy. We'll follow him.
Yeah.
We do.
And we'll go to FK.
Two shout outs, please, guys. One for my one of my best mates. He's coming Fulham with me. He is at Verge59. That's VERGE59. And also, I think she's involved with this podcast somehow. Gim, I seem to remember you saying, but Chloe the Geek. I've been following her since you recommended her a few sort of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, and she speaks so much sense. So at Chloe the Geek.
Yeah, she's going to be one of the few people that's going to be blogging for us.
Honestly,
so it'd be nice to see what she's got to say.
Yeah, get following, guys. She's really good, really smart.
Because we always like to make the point that just if you're not in the UK and you're not English, doesn't mean we don't want you. We all have people blogging and guests no matter where you're from, male or female, even gingers.
Yeah, and midgets.
Hey, steady on. That's your love life sorted.
Hey, Van, your shout-outs, please.
Mine is not for one particular person. It's for a group. I'm sure you guys know them. Untold Arsenal.
Yes, certainly do.
Yep,
really like those guys, especially the referee reviews. So go check them out. They're at blog.emiratesstadium.info. And I'm curiously looking at Anthony Taylor's referee review for 2012. It's a little bit interesting read.
Brilliant. My one for this week, first up, I'd like to thank, and his name on Twitter is @Ollie Bright, and that is OLLY_BRIGHT, and he's helping us with a few star names on the podcast. We've got Lethal Bizzle on board, and we're talking to him as we speak. And our second one really is from me and Danny and all of the podcast team, and that goes to @the Spencer, and that is of course, AL Spencer, SPENCER. He's a long-time fan of the show. Me and Danny spoke to him a couple of months back. Really, really nice guy, and it's his birthday today. So a very happy birthday from all of us at a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast.
Happy birthday, Alonso, you cheeky monkey.
Happy birthday, big man.
So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and keep it Arsenal. Good night.
Nanu, nanu. Cheeky monkey bitches.